Test 1. At the start of each piece, you will hear this sound. Part 1. You will hear people talking in 8 different situations. For questions 1 to 8, choose the best answer A, B or C. 1. You are walking in the street when somebody stops you and speaks to you. What does he want you to do? A. Give him directions. B. Give him an address. C. Take him somewhere.
Excuse me, I wonder if you could give me a hand. I'm looking for the National Central Bank, and I seem to have got a bit lost. I've got this map here that they sent me, and they've marked where it is, but I'm afraid I can't work it out. I keep ending up in the same place. I know it's very near here, so would you mind terribly coming along with me and pointing out the place? As long as it's not out of your way, of course.
2. You hear someone talking on a public telephone. Who is she talking to? A. Her employer. B. Another employee. C. A doctor.
I think I'm going to be in a bit late today. Could you let him know? No, I can't rearrange it. Look, it's a firm appointment. No, I know he gets annoyed if anyone's late, but what can I do? Yes, I know he'll make me work some extra time to make it up. But you know I haven't been feeling well lately, so I want to find out what's wrong with me. Okay, I'll see you as soon as I can.
3. You hear part of a radio news report. Where is the reporter? A. In a conference hall. B. Outside a building. C. In a hotel.
And so it's over to our reporter, David Muir, who's on the spot.
Yes, thank you, Sue. We're expecting developments any minute now. For the past few days, I've been staying not far from here, and people have been gathering on the streets. It looks as if there might be trouble if they're not satisfied with the results of the talks. The leaders should be coming out very soon, and the moment they come down the steps, I'll try to fight my way through the crowd of other reporters on the pavement and get comments from them.
OK, David, we'll be back to you as soon as anything happens.
4. You hear someone on the radio describing her career. How does she feel? A. Content. B. Frustrated. C. Jealous.
Yes, I've had a very varied career. I've had my successes and my failures, and that's the way life goes. All I can say is, I've never known what's going to happen next. I know that many other actors have had more success than me without my talent, and I could let that bother me, but that's not the way I am. I think that I might not have done everything I'm capable of, but worse things can happen to you.
5. You hear part of a radio report. Who is speaking? A. A policeman. B. A motoring expert. C. A car driver.
So many people just don't seem to understand what a weapon a vehicle is. Every holiday time we have the same thing. Every holiday time we give the same warnings, but every holiday time they take no notice. So many drivers are just so careless and frankly stupid. They obviously don't care about driving properly or they wouldn't behave like they do. Then they wonder why they get involved in accidents. And when they do, we have to deal with the result.
6. You hear someone talking on the telephone. What is he doing? A. Giving advice. B. Expressing disapproval. C. trying to persuade.
Look, I'm not going to go through this again. It's obvious that you never listen to a word I say, so what's the point in discussing it now? You shouldn't have bought that car. I told you enough times there are plenty of better ones for the money. But now that you have, it's too late to do anything about it. You asked me what I thought, and then you took no notice. Look, I can only tell you what I think. If you choose to ignore me, that's up to you.
7. You hear two people discussing the local bus service. What's their opinion of it? A. The service is unreliable. B. The fares are too high. C. The journeys are very slow.
What I object to is that the things never come when they're supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, the other day, I must have been waiting for 3/4 of an hour. They always seem to take ages to come, don't they?
That's if they even turn up at all. I mean, they make this big thing about how you save money if you use them instead of going by car, and I suppose that's true, but...
Yeah, whether it's cheap or not is neither here nor there, if you can never be sure whether they're going to turn up or not.
Quite. I don't know why they even bother to print the timetables.
8. You hear part of an interview with a sportsman. What is the situation? A. He has just won a match. B. He is about to play. C. He has decided to retire.
Well, when I became the champion, I thought there was nothing else left for me to achieve. But after a while, when I got used to it, I wanted to win again and again. I'd really like to be out there today, because I still think I can beat almost anyone. But, well, I've had my great victories, and you can't ask for more than that. I realize it's time to call it a day, and after all, I can still play for fun.
That is the end of part 1. Now turn to part 2. You will hear part of a radio programme about Gatwick Airport, an airport near London. For questions 9 to 18, complete the sentences.
Gatwick has grown from a small local airfield to become the 6th largest international airport in the world. Every year, nearly 20 million passengers pass through. 23,000 people work there, employed by more than 150 companies. But the responsibility of dealing directly with the travelling public is in the hands of relatively few men and women. Our reporter, Sandy Leslie, spent a day there recently, talking to some of those who come face to face with the public in the course of their work at the airport.
Well, here I am in one of the airport terminals, and it's certainly very busy. I've started at the information desk, and I'm talking to Carol Bennett, information assistant, while she's having a break from dealing with people's inquiries. Carol, you've certainly got a busy job here, haven't you? There are constant queues, aren't there?
Yes, they all turn up here at the information desk with their problems. If we can't deal with them ourselves, we can refer them to where they need to go, whether it be the medical centre or the chapel or the airline or the shopping mall. The thing about Gatwick Airport is it's like a small town with all the problems of a small town. Lots of people with small problems or large problems, and they all seem to come to this desk.
Are there any recent cases that stick out in your mind?
Well, we had a young lady who came up one day completely disorientated. She thought she was in Australia. She said, "Am I in Australia?" I said, "No, you're in Gatwick." She said, "You've got to be joking. I should be in Australia." I said, "What do you mean?" She said she'd fallen asleep on the aircraft, and it was a multi-stop aircraft, and of course, instead of getting off in Australia, she'd slept right through and got off at Gatwick. I had a lot of trouble getting through to her. She kept trying to show me her ticket. She just couldn't believe what had happened. Of course, she had no luggage, no clothes or anything. It was a terrible shame, really. I mean, it might be difficult to imagine how it happened, but it really did, and I wouldn't like it to happen to me. Anyway, I had to contact Travel Care. They handle that sort of thing, and they sorted her out.
Of course, security is a major issue at airports these days, and I'm now talking to Richard Willis, Terminal Duty Officer. He's part of the Terminal Duty team, and their job is to keep a constant watch on every corner of the airport, looking out for trouble.
As you can see, our cameras here in the monitoring centre cover the whole of the airport. We can see everything, really. The monitoring centre is the nerve centre. The information that we get from the cameras is very varied, and the staff here will deal with it as best they can, and also pass any relevant information on to the members of the duty team who are out and about in the building. It can be anything from a medical emergency or a fire alarm anywhere in the building to passenger congestion within the check-in area at very busy times. And basically, with regard to that, the staff will go down there and hopefully sort the problem out so that passengers can have speedy access through the airport to board the aircraft.
I'm now here with Jane Anderson. And Jane, your job involves dealing with sudden problems, doesn't it?
Yes, I'm in passenger services, and I suppose that one of the biggest problems I have, since my job involves both departing and incoming passengers, is if there are ever any flight delays. These lounges aren't big enough to hold everyone who's kept waiting. There aren't enough seats, so we have people standing, and I'm very limited as to how long I can keep them there. The captain's going to be saying to me, hold them there for another half an hour, and I'm going, well, I can't really do that. And meanwhile, obviously, they become very agitated because it's so congested in there.
All big airports like Gatwick have shopping centres in them, and now I'm talking to...
That is the end of Part 2. Now turn to Part 3. You will hear 5 different radio advertisements for places where parties can be held. For questions 19 to 23, choose from the list A to F what each place states. Use the letters only once. There is one extra letter which you do not need to use.
Looking for somewhere to hold your party? Look no further than Marty's, where both large and small parties are welcome. We'll lay on a feast of 9 dishes plus dessert, and vegetarians are catered for. If you want entertainment, we have a lunchtime and evening disco available on selected dates. We can cater for parties of up to 400, and prices start from £16 a head. So, contact our party office now on 439 67740 for further details and bookings.
If you want to throw that party that people are still talking about months later, come to us at the ever-popular Hotspot and we'll organise everything for you. Nightly entertainment includes non-stop live bands, top-class cabaret and the best disco in town. What's more, drinks are half price on certain days. Larger parties can be accommodated in private suites if you prefer, and you can choose from 3 or 4 course meals or the special party menu, which is £17.50 a head. So call us on 564-3211 for the party with great food, great company and a great atmosphere.
For the very best in food and service, hold your party at Bentley's. We're recommended in all the major restaurant guides and by newspaper, magazine and radio critics. We'll guarantee the best value in town. You just can't beat our prices. 4 and 5 course menus are available from £14, and there's our excellent buffet menu. We're conveniently right at the heart of the city, and we're open every day of the week. So don't delay, contact us now for information and bookings on 943521.
Why not have your party a float? Let your guests take it easy aboard the Explorer as they cruise along the river. Dancing, with our top-rated DJ, is always available, and the food is good. You can hire the Explorer for either daytime or evening parties. There's plenty of room for large groups of up to 400, and we've still got a few dates available this month. Prices range from £10 to £13 a head, and you can be sure there are no hidden extras. So, for unbeatable value, book now on 657-4322.
For that special occasion, book now at the Palace. You'll get a rather sophisticated atmosphere in a lovely location by the river with great food. We're open 7 days a week, and we can cater for both lunchtime and evening parties. Parties of 100 or more can take advantage of our delightful function room, which comes with no hire charge for the room. Prices start at £10 a head, plus drinks, for our 2-course menu, and 1 or 2 dates are still available for last-minute bookings. So call us now on 213-5546.
That is the end of Part 3. Now turn to Part 4. You will hear an interview with someone who started a news service called Children's Express. For questions 24 to 30, choose the best answer, A, B, or C.
Welcome back. I'm talking to Bob Wilson, who started Children's Express, which is an organisation that supplies reports and articles to newspapers, magazines and TV and radio stations in the US. And as we heard before the break, Children's Express is entirely staffed by children. They do the interviews, they put together the reports. Bob, is it intended that the children should become journalists?
Well, although many of them do, it's really about children beginning to look at the world in a different way, beginning to think about the serious issues in the world today. We want them to be responsible citizens when they grow up, and in the meantime, they have some powerful messages to deliver to the adult world. And of course, if kids get responsibility for covering the world, it's amazing how interested they become. You know, they begin to read newspapers and news magazines. They think about issues. So it's a really stimulating exercise for them.
Now, tell me about your youngsters. How old are they and where do they come from?
They range from 8 to 18. They're broken down into reporters and editors. The reporters are 13 and under, and they're guided by editors, who are 14 to 18 years old. All the training is done by the teenage editors. There's no adult involvement at all. The training is passed down from generation to generation. The kids come from the widest possible backgrounds. There are kids from poor economic backgrounds, and we'll get some middle-class kids as well. So, it's a real mix.
And, where have their stories appeared?
Well, we've done television and we've done radio on the most important radio shows in public radio in the U.S., and, we've gone into major newspapers and been published in feature sections of newspapers which are read by adults. So we're very proud of the adult readership. They're the ones, after all, that have the vote and the influence.
That's quite an achievement, isn't it? To have reached a situation where, in fact, you're taken very seriously by serious newspapers.
We have a major newspaper that we report for every week. We do a full page for the Indianapolis Star every week. They did a readership survey, and they found that 48% of their readers read us either all the time or some of the time. And they didn't even measure the child readership, which is very broad. So we were quite excited by that we were read, as I understand it, even more than their editorial page.
And do you find that, people will cooperate? I mean, do they, for example, interview political leaders? Do they get access to significant public figures?
Our kids have interviewed all recent U.S. presidents and many other leaders. So I'd say that the children are taken seriously, and they have a background. You know, we've been in business for 19 years now, so that they've been at it for a long time. And I think we're quite well respected in the U.S. media business.
Do the children take notes, or are the interviews recorded as they're being done?
Everything is recorded on tape.
And do the youngsters rewrite and edit their own stuff under guidance?
Our kind of journalism for newspapers and magazines, just so you get some idea of why it's so readable by adults, we call it oral journalism. Everything that the children do is tape recorded. The young reporters do the interviews, and these are recorded. The teenage editors take notes during the interviews. Then the teenage editors question the reporters about the interviews, and this questioning is recorded too. All of that recorded material is then typed out, and the young editors then piece the articles together from that. So they don't rewrite. Everything is edited from those recordings. Everything in the articles is either the words of the person being interviewed or the words of the child who interviews them. So, it's a rather unique form of journalism.
You're proud of what you've done. You're proud of your children, aren't you?
Very proud.
Well, we wish you luck.
It's been a great pleasure. Thank you.
Right, a short break, and then it's sport.
That is the end of Part 4.